Hello guys, once again yan na naman. Internet connection. Ayusin natin to. Okay, ayusin lang natin to mga to mga kamets. Connection okay. Kamusta kayo dyan? 1 second lang mga ka-YouTubers. Ito. Medyo kulang tayo ng energy Kape muna tayo. Let's get the ball rolling. Alright. Okay, walang... Wait lang guys, ayusin ko tong internet. Bukas 1 second lang Ayusin ko lang tong internet na to. Wait lang guys hindi ko alam nangyari dito yung... Yay. Ba't ganun yung internet ko dito? Mag-live to. Ayan. Okay na. Ito na guys. Live na tayo. Finally. I don't know kung makakat ito or hindi. Ay, nako talaga. Ang connection talaga dito. Anyway, Happy New Year everyone. I hope you had a wonderful time with your family and loved ones. Ayan, pagod pa ako. Dami natin mga hinag, mga binuhat, mga ating mga minamahal sa buhay, si Lola, si Daddy, yan. Lahat ng mga minamahal natin, hinag natin ng sobrang higpit. Yan, I'm super thankful ako to the Lord for giving us the opportunity to celebrate another milestone in a sense of getting into a new year, surviving all the challenges, ups and downs throughout the year in 2023. Alam ko hindi tayo nag-iisa in terms of dealing with a lot of challenges, of course, a lot of worries. As you know, of course, few months ago, yung ating minamahal na lola was not doing very well. I was extremely worried about her, and I constantly, nung nasa hospital siya talaga na medyo alanganin siya, I kept on telling her, Lola, hanging there, konti na lang, malapit ng Christmas, malapit ng holidays, pauwi na sila mga tito, pauwi na yung mga apo mo, mga minamahal mo sa buhay. So I just felt so good, and I felt blessed that God gave us the opportunity to have someone as special and loving as her with us during the New Year celebrations. Obviously, I'm sure many people also share that. That sentiment, with respect to their loved ones, especially yung mga medyo may edad na, medyo may mga seniors na. So it's always, something to cherish and not be taken for granted, no? And speaking of not taking things for granted, mga kameta, thank you very much dun sa mga nagpapadala ng support dahil katulad ng pinost natin kanina dyan sa Facebook, for a lot of us, hindi naman tayo, thankfully, we don't have to worry about the basic things, no? Like, siguro pagkain, in terms of sleepers, in terms of yung mga basic school supplies, especially yung mga pabalik na sa eskwela. But that's not the reality para sa marami sa ating mga kababayan. I mean, I of course care so much for what's happening all around the world, for children of Ukraine, for children of Gaza, for victims of heinous attacks and crimes like what happened on October 7th, for instance, last year. Our heart goes to children, especially all across the world. But let's not forget, there are also children in our own country, no, na naghihirap hanggang ngayon at eto na, pabalik na sa eskwela soon, but, wala silang mga pinaka-basics. So, thank you so much dun sa mga nagpadala ng support, and those, any amount would do, kahit, ano bang minimum sa GCash? 10 pesos, that would do. It's the expression of goodwill that counts. So, thanks dito sa aking colleague na si Dean June. Taga Mindanao po siya, and he has a number of advocacies dun sa Mindanao, especially dun sa mga katutubo natin, mga kababayan, at saka yung mga kabataan dun sa mga very liblib na lugar talaga, literal talaga medyo malayo sa quote unquote kabihasnan, in terms of logistics and infrastructure and all. So just buying sleepers for them, just buying the basic school supplies, very important. And then of course, unfortunately, some of yung ating mga kababayan also are, suffering from afflictions, very young kids, no? From disabilities, afflictions and all. And they live very far away from the basic facilities that is needed. So the least we can do is probably get them some vitamins, probably get them some basic nutritional materials, or I don't know, maybe down the road at least get some, I don't know, some technology or something, no? Something very basic para naman makapag-aral sila, and so that their parents and all could also provide them some sort of, basic joys of life and mobility and all. So thank you very much again. So ito yung punos natin kanina. You can just press itong QR code dito at padala nyo dito, and of course 100% diretso ito doon sa ating mga kaibigan who are in charge of this outreach programs. One is the Manobo Children of Gomburza Elementary School, Tagbayagan, Rosario, Agusan del Sur. Actually, nagbigay na po kami just before, this is Christmas, no? So meron na kami outreach ng Christmas, sleepers, toys, and school supplies. But of course, way more has to be done. Another one is the Manawa Children of Jabonga in Surigao del Norte naman. So thank you very much kay Dean June. Thank you so much, sir, for doing the legwork. Unfortunately, I couldn't join him this time because, of course, andito tayo sa Baguio with family and loved ones. But in my own little ways, I want to contribute to these efforts. Dahil as much as we care about, as I said, children from Ukraine to Gaza to Africa, etc., we have to also care about, children who are suffering dito sa sarili nating bayan. Ang dami pang mahihirap sa ating bayan. Ang dami pang mga tao na yung mga basics wala pa sa kanila. Malaking bagay na may chinelas, malaking bagay na may basic na school supplies, malaking bagay na makapagbigay tayo ng mga vitamins or basic health supplies, medicines, etc. doon sa mga talaga may pangangailangan, no? At malayo doon sa mga lugar kung saan pwede sila makuha ng best possible health support. So these are the small things we're doing here and there. Of course, blessing yan from the Lord. Some of us have had the blessing to have at least be able to take care of yung mga pinaka-basics natin sa buhay. Some of us a little bit more privileged than others. But you have to share that, even in the most humble way. So I really, really appreciate mga kameta. Yung QR code na post lang natin dyan. Diretso yan dun sa mga kabataan. And of course, I will post updates as soon as we have new pictures and new reports about dito sa nangyayari. So ito, mga ano natin, colleague ko yan sa UP. Okay, legit kami, alright? Hindi kami scammer. So ako, syempre na-touch ako when nakita ko. But, my contribution is very limited, and how I wish I would be in a position to be there on the ground and to support. So, thank you very much sa lahat ng mga nagpapadala ng support. So, I'm hoping na by tomorrow, medyo mapadala natin itong mga new, whatever we can gather, no? In the next 16 to 24 hours, para early year pa lang, meron ng mga tulong itong mga kabataan na ito para they can start the year on a fresh note, on a happy note, with new sleepers, new school supplies, etc. That's the least we can do, no? Sa ating mga kababayan. And yun nga yung sinasabi ko eh. I mean, I care about events happening all around the world, but never take your eyes away from what is happening dun sa sarili natin bayan, no? Marami pa rin sa ating mga kababayan na napakahirap, no? And definitely, of course, malalim ang gat ng problema, warlordism, dynasties, corruption. We cannot solve those problems in the foreseeable future. It will take time. We have to push for reforms step by step. But in the meantime, little help here and there could go a long way. Now, speaking of things going a long way, ito na mga kabataan. Mga kabataan naman tayo. Ito mga kameta, ito na. Bagong taon pa lang, medyo may pakulo na, no? May pakulo na. So, eto, salamat kay Sir Ivan. So, one of the things that really heartens me is that dumadami po yung mga quote-unquote political analysts, no, sa ating bayan. Essentially, young analysts, Filipino scholars, Filipino activists, Filipino concerned citizens, no? Na may pakialam sa nangyari sa ating bayan, na they're following news and the nuances of what's happening in our political landscape. Of course, tuwan-tuwa po kami na marami sa inyo nakikinig sa amin, ni Ronald, nakikinig sa amin ni Mark, nakikinig sa amin ni Lisandro Claudio, among others, yung mga kasabwat natin, no? In terms of breaking down and analyzing yung mga pangyayari sa ating bayan. So I'm very, very glad to see that nag-nurture po tayo ng ganitong kultura, no? Itong kultura ng critical thinking, itong kultura ng political analysis na hindi lang marites, right? Because unfortunately, for a long time, yung kwentong Barbero, Marites, yun ang naging basihan ng political analysis. I mean, one of the things that always annoys me is, people going to journalists to get political insights. Because ang inisip nila, itong journalist, dahil kilala niya itong politiko na to, or dahil may marites siyang ganito, mas valid yung kanang analysis. Let me tell you, mga kameta, of course, nowadays, of course, more or less, I have connections with, everyone that counts, right? But that was not the case before. So back in the day when I didn't have much connection, I relied on my conceptual analytic skills. No, I relied on crowdsourcing, getting information here and there. I relied on basic assumptions, in game theory, for instance, and that allowed me to very much predict, no, where things would go. Hindi ko na makilala si Digong bago elections. Hindi ko na makilala yung mga tao in positions of power. But we were able to predict a lot of the things, including the direction of our foreign policy, direction of his policy, etc., through comparative analysis, through conceptual analysis. So, ito yung parati kong pangarap, no, na magkakaroon tayo ng isang kultura kung saan hindi lang marites yung basihan, no, ng political analysis. There's a certain degree of rationality, there's a certain degree of algorithmic iteration, there's a certain degree of rational choice theory, and also not so rational choice theory. So, ako, parang game theory ang minsan ginagamit ko, no, to analyze dynamics pagdating sa politics, pagdating sa economics, pagdating sa international affairs. So I'm really glad. So kudos kay Sir Ivan and all of this young generation of analysts coming in and also doing their basic research. I mean, a lot of material you need, hindi mo kailangan maritas yan. It's available all over the place because we live in a time where everyone is signaling to everyone else. Everyone's using their social media platform, using media platforms. PR is very important. Public relations is very important. No, communication is very important. No, and we live in an era of populism. In one way or another, everyone is populist nowadays. No, it's about getting attention, getting the message out. So if you pay enough attention to the right signals, not the noise, you separate the signal from the noise, boom, medyo gets mo na sa papunta mga bagay-bagay. So, Speaking of which, for almost a year po, pinag-usapan natin itong posibilidad na hindi lang magkakaroon ng conflagration sa loob ng unit team, but there could be quote-unquote a mini civil war. No, I don't mean it necessarily in civil war like katulad ng nangyari sa ancient Rome, si Mark Antony versus Pompey versus Julius Caesar. Hindi naman sana ganun, di ba? But in a way, we're crossing the Rubicon na. When I say we, not necessarily, yours truly or you and I, but the people who are in the positions of power. And the crossing of the Rubicon here is essentially allowing itong International Criminal Court to go after very, very senior officials from the former administration, right? Now, this is a thing that I and Ronald and some of other people have been saying for more than a year, right? Or at least have been harping on over the past 5 or 6 months. And it was a kind of a hunch and increasingly a kind of a empirical observation. Kasi alam namin, the ICC has been here in the town. I've been posting about this. ICC is already here. So mukhang, eto na. Mukhang na-notice na nung iba na the news is tightening at malapit na itong ICC. So, we have no less than former former presidential spokesman, ex-presidential spokesman, Harry Roque. Ito na, may speech siya kanina. Ito pa yung speech niya kanina. Pakinggan niyo. Pinost ko naman doon sa baba. At you can check it on your own. Medyo, ito na. I don't want to say it's panic. I don't want to say it's desperate. I don't want to say it's threatening. But, it speaks for itself. Just check it on your own. Mga kameta, makikita niyo, di ba? Ano yung mga kalakaran dito sa ating bansa, di ba? Wait lang, ba't di ko ma-play?
Ang babata sa mababang kapulungan. So tingin ko, yan din ang mangyayari. Pero si PBBM magdi-deny-deny hanggang gagalaw.
Ayan, si PBBM magdi-deny-deny, di ba? Yun yung parating kong sinasabi. Conflict avoidance si BBM, so do not expect him to openly go there and declare war. But just because he's conflict avoidant in terms of his temperament, it doesn't mean that he's not gonna necessarily go for the gold, right? Or go for jugular. So, pati si Harry, aminado siya na pagdating kay BBM, he's gonna be nice. He's gonna say nice things or he's not gonna give any indications. Hindi siya katulad ni hindi siya katulad ni Duterte. Hindi rin siya katulad ni Aquino. Kasi both si Benigno Aquino at Duterte, ito yung mga presidente na talagang kung tingin nila kalaban ka, they're gonna declare war on you. No, so in the case of President Aquino declaring war on on Arroyo and yung mga kalaban niya, in the case of President Duterte declaring war on sa mga Dilawan, etc. Ayan na si Noel, alam mo naman bagong buhay ka na. New Year na, nagte-troll pa rin kayo. Ano yung mga trolls natin? Thank you. Pataas niyo yung mga engagements namin. No? Ito.
Ang DOJ makikipagtulungan, gagalawang pulisya kapag nagkaroon ng warrant of arrest at isuserve yan. Baka hindi lang kay FBI, RD.
Yan. So, essentially sinasabi niya na itong si President BBM, you're not gonna see indications from him. Pero parang pwede, slowly, the wheels of bureaucracy will take care of everything else. And
hindi kay Sara na rin. Pag nangyari po talaga yan, gulo. Hindi ko po sinasabi na magkagulo tayo. Ang sinasabi ko lang, pag yan ay nangyari, talagang magkakagulo.
Wait.
Ang tingin ko, kung
di ko na-gets. Ano ba talaga? Magkakagulo or hindi magkakagulo, di ba? Pero ito yung importante yung sinabi ni Harry dito na potentially, hindi lang si Rodrigo Duterte, but even the number 2, the current, yung kasalangkuyan na number 2 could be also on the list. Now, I'm not sure where he's getting his information, but this is not totally out of the blue, and this is not totally out of the realm of possibility dahil nakita natin dun sa Vera Files report, among others, na hindi lang si Digong, potentially 4 or 5 very, very high-level officials, including some senators, could be on the list of yung mga investigate ng ICC. Pero ito lang yung part ng hindi.
Magkagulo tayo. Ang sinasabi,
hindi na sinasabi na magkakagulo tayo, pero magkakagulo tayo, pero hindi na sinasabi anong klaseng magkakagulo. So, bahala kayo makinig.
Sara na rin.
Wait lang.
Mambabata sa mabab.
Ulitin natin. Sorry, mahina yung internet natin. Ay, hindi. Na-download ko ba to? Ay, hindi. Nandun kasi sa isang phone ko yun. Sorry.
Gulo. Hindi ko po sinasabi.
Gulo, pero hindi na sinasabing gulo.
Tayo. Ang sinasabi ko lang, pag yan ay nangyari, talagang magkakagulo.
Ano ba talaga? Magulo, hindi, parang medyo magulo.
Na wala nang suporta ang taong bayan kay PRRD, nagkakamali sila. Kasi nga kahit anong ibato nila Inday Sara, yes, bumaba ng bahagya ang trust at popularity rating ni Inday Sara, pero pinakamataas pa rin siya sa lahat ng tao
May
sa
tumatawag
gobyerno.
sa
Di ba
kanya.
po, no? So sa tingin ko, magkakamali sila, no? Kung ang tingin nila ay wala ng suporta ang taong bayan. Aalma ang taong bayan. At kaya nga ang hinaharap niya, para nagtutugma dun sa sinasabi ng feng shui. Kapag itong pagtutulungan nito mangyari sa mga more.
May mga ano pa si ano ha? Ibang klase ah. Wait, I mean, let's see what he's doing here. Again, you mentioned yung popularity numbers and all of that. Now, as I said, popular numbers are useless unless this is backed by mobilization. This is backed by organization, right? Of course, during elections, blah blah blah. Yes, popular of course matters. It's not totally worthless, but when you're looking at very, very, essentially existential situations, this is about mobilization power. This is about having vectors of influence dun sa ating mga iba't ibang bahagi na ating state institutions, sa mga political parties, etc. So, I'm not sure this argument of, yeah, I mean, popular mga Dutertes, no question about it. But ang tanong is, anong kinalaman nito? So kung popular ka, hindi ka pwedeng ano yun at all, even if there's a clear evidence. I mean, gets mo? And kung ang kalaban mo yung administrasyon, yung gobyerno, na meron din na mataas na popularity, but more importantly, meron din resources and the mandate, yung mandato ng Estado ay sa kanila, then I'm not sure how this argument flies. But yun nga, yung parang, what is it? Is this kind of a threat but not a threat? Mangyari na hindi mangyari? So, what are you trying to say here, di ba?
Yung second part ng taon, gulo. So ano naman ang hinaharap ni Inday Sara? Well, syempre, ang kapalaran ni Inday Sara depende rin sa mga hakbang na gagawin ni PBBM. Kung talagang makikipagtulungan para mapadala at mapakulong ang Inday Sara at FPRRD sa dahig natural, anong gagawin ng magkama? Ang lang man sabihin nilang, we love you, PBBM. Aalma at aalma rin yan. At sigurado na nandyan yung kanilang mga tagasunod, ilang supporters, at syempre, hindi naman po pwedeng uupo lang sila at babaw sa gusto na mangyari ng administrasyon. Mambabata sa mababa.
Yan. So, interesting guys. Sorry, medyo
So tingin ko,
na-conscious ako sa...
pero
Sorry.
PBBM magdi-deny din na.
Ayan. So, ito very interesting. So, there are a couple of things being said here. First of all, as far as President Bongbong Marcos is concerned, don't expect him to go out there guns blazing. So expect this to be a bureaucratic, slow burn or not so slow burn anymore strategy na quietly papaano niya yung mga nandun sa baba to do the deal. But the other important thing here is, ang sinasabi dito is, dahil popular pa rin mga Dutertes, at dahil medyo alam nila na nangyari, they're not just gonna sit idly by. Pero wala naman daw gulo mangyayari, pero pwede mangyaring gulo, pero hindi niya sasabihin kung anong klaseng gulong pwede mangyari. So this was a kind of an interesting intervention by the ex-presidential spokesman, kung saan sinasabi niya na alam namin ang nangyayari ngayon, meron sila information about the direction of things, diba, the trajectory of our political situation. At sinasabi niya, we're not gonna sit idly by. Kasi alam naman natin ang allegiance niya, di ba? Hindi naman sa estado natin. So let's see. So, is this kind of a warning shot? Ito ba isang shot across the bow? Essentially telling the powers that be na ingat kayo, na malakas pa rin kami, na popular pa rin kami, and we have the information. But the interesting thing is that parang may admission na potentially hindi lang si Tigong, but even the vice president could be ensnared by this, no? Even the term Hague was mentioned, and the idea that they're just gonna sit idly by and they're just gonna welcome and accept it with fatalism, hindi mangyari yan. So, very interesting. This is very interesting. I think there's so many things happening. So I really suggest you guys, I'll post the link. Go there and watch it on your own, the whole video. Malay nyo ba, gusto nyo rin mag-subscribe sa kanyang podcast. Ayan, para may competition naman kami ni Christian Esguerra. Kami dalawa lang yata nagko-compete dyan sa political news sa podcast sa Philippines. Although alam niyo naman mga kamet, tayo naman we're always trying to compete globally, right? That was always my thing. But anyway, the more the merrier. So please go and check out the YouTube link. I'll send the link to you guys. Watch the whole thing. I just showed to you guys the highlights part, yung pinaka-important part. Pinaka-importanteng mga segments na I think gives you some idea about ano yung mga klaseng internal conversations na meron sa kampo ng mga Digong, no? Kampo nila Digong at mga Dutertes. Like what is the state of mind? What is the state of discussion there? And eto na, you have some of them, they're impresarios, essentially kind of shot across the bow, kind of, threatening na baka magkaroon ng gulo. Pero hindi ko sinasabi na magkaroon ng gulo, pero pwede magkaroon ng gulo, di ba? Yung gano'n, di ba? So, ako naman, ang sinasabi ko dito is, pagdating nga naman kay BBM, he's a conflict avoidant person in a sense na hindi, he's not gonna go demagogically, go there and threaten people right and left. Pero hindi rin mahina mag-isip yan si BBM pagdating sa politika. Smooth operator yan. So if there's gonna be a move, and a move is already happening in certain sense, in the sense that andito ng ICC nag-investigate na sila, it's a matter of formality, of warrant of arrest, etc. Then I'm sure si BBM and his deputies and lieutenants, they're making also the necessary preparations and all of that, right? So tingnan natin yan mga kameta. So 2024 could be a very, very big year, not only for President Marcos Jr., not only for the Dutertes, but for the Philippine Republic, no? Because libong-libong mga Pilipino, karamihan sa kanila, vast majority of whom, pinakamahirap ng mga Pilipino, ang namatay, di ba? Maraming kabataan namatay, more than 100, base sa mga reports na meron tayo. This has been one of the darkest episodes in our history. And yeah, sadly, it's true na maraming sumuporta dun sa drug war dun sa una. But if you also look at the surveys, maraming nagsasabi na natakot din sila na baka madamay din sila. So there was always a climate of fear. This was never an unconditional 100% support. And the fact na si Digong ngayon dun sa surveys for the Senate is getting preference rating of just over 40%. That shows that he's not as popular and powerful as before, right? And as I said, approval ratings, surveys, whatever, it's also about power. It's also about resources. It's also about mobilization skills. It's also about international support. And guess what? As far as those things are concerned, BBM is the far more powerful actor here, even if he's the conflict avoidant one. So don't also underestimate BBM. BBM could do big things this year. And as I argued last year, should the ICC issue push forward, this will be the most consequential development in Philippine politics for the foreseeable future, because it could trigger a very, very harsh backlash from certain section, but it could also bring a lot of support from a lot of people internationally and locally for BBM, which would be very ironic that that the namesake son of the former Filipino dictator could potentially oversee one of the biggest accountability and judicial accountability moves, not only in Philippine history but in Asian history. Wala pang pagdating sa ICC, alam natin napakabagal ng ICC, napakadami mga limitations ng ICC, but the ICC has not gone after an Asian leader yet. So if ever this happens, this is going to be a very, very big thing. Very, very big thing. So the fact that this could happen under Marcos Jr. is crazy. Now, I'm not gonna hold my breath because at the end of the day, alam natin, pagdating sa Pilipinas, we're still not in a situation of rule of law. We are moving in the right directions, kudos to the current administration. I mean, the situation with Maria Ressa, the situation with Leila de Lima, but we still have tens of thousands of unresolved cases, of potential miscarriage of justice or extrajudicial actions, no? So tignan natin what's gonna happen on that front. But it's interesting that this early in the year, right, January 1 pa lang, may mga nakikita na tayong ganitong mga interventions, no, by no less than the ex-presidential spokesman, no? So this is quite interesting. And let's watch out. Let's see where this is gonna go. Very interesting ito mga kameta. Again, thank you very much sa lahat ng mga sumuporta sa atin. Thank you very much also dun sa mga sumuporta at nagpapadala ng support dito sa mga outreach programs natin, especially dun sa mga ating mga kababayan na maminmahal natin, sa mga kababayan sa Mindanao and mga other places. As I said, meron kaming mga liit na mga outreach program with my colleague si Dean June. Kami po yung mga taga-UP, kaibigan po kami ng matagal. Si Dean po, taga-Mindanao po siya, so meron siyang mga outreach programs dito sa Mindanao, sa mga, sa marginalized communities, sa indigenous peoples, yung mga ganun na in-outreach niya. So again, thank you so much sa lahat ng mga nagpapadala ng support, kahit 10 pesos, 5 pesos, whatever. We really appreciate it mga kameta. So ito, Manubo Children of Comborza Elementary, dun sa Tagbayagan, Rosario, Acusan del Sur. Meron na kaming nagawang outreach during Christmas, sleepers toys, and school supplies, but we're hoping to do more there. Importantly, yung sa Mananwa children of Habonga, Surigao del Norte, yun naman next natin. Sana puntahan na tulungan. Of course, personally, I cannot be there because I'm here in the north, far north, but in my own little ways, I'm trying to also help and facilitate people who want to be of little help here and there. And of course, as soon as na-distribute po namin itong mga supplies and mga help na ito, i-upload po namin yung mga pictures, etc. So thank you very much, mga kameta. Maraming salamat for fantastic support in 2023. So God willing, inshallah, thank you so much, mga kameta. Sana you also support us even more this year. We have been doing very well, especially on YouTube. Thank God, our numbers are unprecedented, the highest numbers we have had ever. So I hope, God willing, this is just the beginning of even more proactive interaction dito sa YouTube among others. Facebook naman, yes, we had our heyday during the last year's elections. Well, last year's elections is already 2024, right? During last year's elections, of course, but hopefully as we get closer to 2025, we can get the Facebook also going. In the meantime, I'm also working on TikTok. Hopefully we can have more interactions also in TikTok. Yung mga pinost natin, alam mo yung mga ginagawa ko mekos na split screen, mukhang medyo may pag-asa ito pagdating sa TikTok. Doing pretty well here. We want to do well. In fact, napansin ko even on Instagram, they're doing very well. Yung mga ganitong type ng, sometimes when politicians and trapos are just so ridiculous, it's not, they're not even worth dignifying through conceptual analysis or cognitive intervention, right? You just have to, like, just some basic acting, and some reaction could, says everything. I mean, it speaks for itself. Alright? Thank you very much again sa lahat ng mga sumusuporta sa atin, sa lahat ng mga atikain natin, sa lahat ng mga yung mga paniniwala natin, mga panindigan natin. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much, mga kameta. And yes, don't worry. Popost ko rin yung mga videos na ginawa namin ni Ronald Diamas. Di ko pa na-post sa Facebook. Meron na dyan sa YouTube. So please go to my YouTube channel. Halos lahat na upload natin immediately there. Although I have to upload yata yung ginawa kong isang day dito naman sa YouTube. But I make sure at least on YouTube everything is uploaded. And then also, of course, we get the ball rolling to start the year also with yung mga paborito yung shows, R&R among others, so we can have more of analysis of that. And as I promised, I'm also working on something new here and there, more than one. One of them is actually this kind of long form lectures, kind of a master class-ish. I know it sounds pretentious and all, but there's some effort and scholarship that goes into that. So edit ko pa yan ako mismo, all right? Because these are my lectures, so I take care of them. I don't ako mismo mag-edit. It's taking a little bit time, medyo effort yan. But also, stay tuned for those ones, the mini lecture series. All right? Thank you very much. God bless. And talk to you soon. Maraming salamat. Maraming salamat dito sa ating mga kameta. Thank you very much sa lahat naman nagpapadala ng support. Especially dun sa ating mga adhikain. Don't worry mga kameta dyan sa YouTube. Repost ko rin yung mga meron tayo dito. Especially the ones that I use graphics and all. Wala kasi akong OBS ngayon. So wala rin masyado na wala yung mga nanandang ganito sa atin. But don't worry, I'll still repost all of these things para make sure na we have cross-platform full compatibility and all. Alright? On that note, thank you very much mga kameta. Alright? Thank you very much for all your support and talk to you soon.